All right, when we're calculating the median, we're going to go through a few steps. Our first step is going to be to sort the data in ascending order from smallest to largest. Then we're going to determine the number of observations. And the key thing here that we're looking at when we're looking at the number of observations is, do we have an even number of observations or do we have an odd number of observations? If we have an odd number of observations, the median is the middle observed value. So it's nice and easy when we're odd, it's literally just going to be the value that's in the middle. If our data set contains an even number of observations, we're actually going to take the average of mean of the middle two values. So if we have an even number of data values, that's going to be something a little bit different. As far as our calculations in StatCrunch, our calculations in StatCrunch are going to be the exact same thing that we saw in section 3.1. So we are going to be able to refer back to that video. And the video actually has to do with the examples in section 3.1, and then it also has to do with example 3 in this section as well. So it kind of shows how when we're looking at a data set, we can basically use the same command in StatCrunch, again, to find a lot of the different information or things that we're looking at in this entire chapter. Right, before we get into that, we are going to go through and talk about calculating a median just by hand. So that's what we're going to do in these next two examples. Right, so the following data represent the travel time in minutes of work for all 7 employees of a small web development company. Same values that we saw previously. We're going to be asked to find the median of the travel times. So our first step, what we want to do is we want to list these in order from smallest to largest. All right, so going in order, our smallest value is 5. All right, our next largest is 18. After 18, we have 23. We have another 23. Right, then we have a 26. Then we have a 36. And then we have a 43. Looking at this, if we count the number of values that we have an odd number of values. So that means we just need to pick out the middle one. Our middle value here is this 23. So we're going to say 23 minutes. That is our median. Just like we did with our mean and our standard deviation previously, we are going to explain what the value means in context. In other words, interpret what our median means. So we are going to say the typical travel time of an employee is 23 minutes. Right, so instead of using mean as our typical value, we're using median. We can also go a little bit further and we can say half of the employees drive less than 23 minutes. And half of the employees drive more than 23 minutes. So again, if we have a smaller data set, no technology really is needed. We can just go ahead and go through and find our typical or our center value by organizing our data from smallest to largest. And then if we have an odd number of data values, as we did in this case, we're just going to pick out the middle value. Right? So the one single value that's in the middle of our data set.